Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is Homicide, the graphic novel, Part 2. It is adapted by Philippe Squarzoni, based on the book by David Simon. Now, for those who don't know Homicide, this is, I don't know if I would call it a modern classic, but it's a pretty big deal. It was written in 1991. Is the year. I want to double check on that, and went on to inspire really just the adaptation of it, of Homicide: Life on the Street television series, and inspired The Wire. So Simon, remember right, was a reporter for was the Baltimore Sun, and was, I believe, a crime reporter, and then wrote kind of a book about police detectives and life in Baltimore in the 80s. It is a brutal story, brutal take, and just beyond honest in so many levels. It actually opens up just kind of warning that this is from the 80s. A lot of what is said is not acceptable today, and you have to go in realizing it was a completely different time, which is understandable. It's a hell of a read. The first part was amazing. The second part is just as amazing. The story is just murder after murder after murder, really kind of focusing on, it feels like the weight of what's going on to these police officers, that they are feeling pressure because the media is playing out that there might be a serial killer going on, and then also the clear rate, like how many things they solve isn't where it should be. So the story really kind of goes through the games that are played by the police, the pressures they're under, the difficulty of what they do, everything. It just builds and builds and builds and builds. And it's an emotional drain of a read, almost in a good way. This is not an uplifting, story, nor is it one to sit there and you walk away going, that was, I learned a lot. No, this is one that it's an emotional punch. Understandable. It's an emotional punch. And it's fantastic. I mean, I've never read the original book. I used to watch Homicide pretty regularly and remember it being a fantastic television show. Obviously The Wire is absolutely amazing. So like to kind of read the thing that graphic novel adaptation of the thing that inspired all of those is really cool. And I also think a lot's to be said about, I've never read the book, but a lot has to be said about the art itself and how it just, I think, adds to the draining elements of it, just the emotional punch of it all. And I'd be fascinated to see or know if like the book was very similar to that. I think the art of it to me is amazing. I mean, there's one, it's absolutely fantastic art, and I think it really just sums up in this right here. We've got a detective, tons of paperwork, and just like that emotional punch that just, to me, that right there sums up so much of the story. We have more of the detective works here. We can see the board of the names of the cases that need to be cleared. And I think it's kind of fascinating about this is, it's not flashy police work. This isn't Hill Street Blues or something like that, out in a car, chasing the bad guys around. There's some detective work going out on the streets with actual crimes themselves. There's not many where you actually see maybe the crime scene. It's more talking to the witnesses. It's a lot in the interrogation room. There's a lot with just detectives talking to each other in the office. It's a talky thing. This is not an action story. This is very much a political crime, if that makes sense. It's a lot about the politics and the business of policing. And it's a hell of a read. It is a hell of a read. I'd be fascinated to see, one, obviously how the book compares to it, but, is this still how policing is today? Do they look at things very similar way? I mean, the book pulls back the curtain in a lot of ways of how stats are manipulated and the things cops do to try to trick suspects. It's interesting. It's really, really interesting. As you saw, the art is absolutely fantastic. There's a little bit of extra in the back of, I think it says unused art or just more artwork from it, that I think just is so just awe-inspiring. If you like stories of just true life, detective stories, crime stories, any of that stuff, like this is, I think, beyond fantastic. The two together go up right up there as, I think, some of my favorite stuff that I've read this year. I'm pretty sure the previous volume came out this year as well. So yeah, go get it. Like I can't recommend it enough. It is out in comic shops. We got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. It'll tell the comic shops near you. No shop, no problem. We do have some links where you can purchase your own. There'll be affiliate links, so you get a small percentage. By doing that, you'll support our site. So thank you. And speaking of support, I want to thank First Second for hooking us up with this review copy. And of course, thank you all for watching. If you are into comics, reading graphic novels, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, Threads, Blue Sky, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.